Hey everybody, it's Mr. Marshall here at Stony Lane. I have a book for you today, and this is a book that I think you'll really enjoy. It's about something called growth mindset, and maybe you know that word, and maybe you don't know that word, but it's something that we need to have. And so, let's read the story, and then maybe you can figure out what that means. Okay, this is called Ricky, the Rock That Couldn't Roll, and it's written by someone named Mr. J. That's what it says. Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll. Ready? Here we go. Over the lake and out past the bay was a green grassy hill where the rocks came to play. See that? They would race to the top to take in the view, then roll their way down the way rocks love to do. There were Kip, Pip, and Chester, and Marvin the Boulder. Ignatius played too, though he was much older. And a group called the Pebbles never ever sat still, zigzagging their way up and over the hill. See, it's got their names. Ignatius, Kip, Pip, Chester, Marvin, and here are all the Pebbles. Kai was a meteorite, and not from this planet, and Maya was lava, but taken for granted. Granite. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, and grumpy old Ebert rolled round with a frown. Gabby was sassy, Lisi had flair, Emma was giggly, and Hud had black hair. But the one trait that seemed to be shared by them all was that every rock there was shaped like a ball. And because they were round, they could easily roll through the grass past the lake, up and over the knoll. Sounds like these rocks really are good friends, right? They like being together. Except for poor Ricky, who quietly sat. You see, Rick couldn't roll because one side was flat. His friends didn't get it. Come roll, they would chant. So Ricky tried, but replied, I'm sorry, I can't. Poor Ricky, I feel sorry for him. Don't you feel sorry for him? He wants to roll with his friends, but he can't. But the rocks were determined. They were sure they could solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him revolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way to the hill's grassy peak. Then he pushed him downhill. Keep rolling, kid! But Rick didn't roll. He just kind of slid. And he's saying, this feels like a bad idea. Poor Ricky, right? Poor Ricky. He can't roll. Well, the rocks weren't done, not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick, using big gobs of glue to get them to stick. They were proud of themselves. This will work, they announced. But Ricky still couldn't roll. Now he sort of just bounced. This seems like a really big problem for him, doesn't it? He really wants to do this. Well, they pushed and they pulled, and trying every which way to get Rick to roll. But by the end of the day, nothing had worked. Just like Rick expected. And he ended up feeling depressed and dejected. It's no use, Ricky sighed. There just isn't a way. So I'll sit off to the side and watch you all play. He's got to do something, right? But his friends wouldn't quit. We're here for you, brother, and we'll get you to roll one way or another. So they pondered and thought, each straining his brain, till they looked up and saw it was starting to rain, and that's when it hit that smart stone named Stu. Eureka, he shouted. I know just what to do. He explained to them how they would get Rick to tumble. My plan is pure genius. Stu wasn't too humble. So they carried our hero down the road about a mile to take to the lake where they gathered up mud they could pile, and on the flat side of Rick, creating a mound that they shaped, smoothed, and sculpted until it was round. Look at that. Then after the rain, with the sun in the sky, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. They gathered up vines and one colorful feather that they wrapped all around Rick to keep it together. Let's see. When the last knot was tied and the work was all done, the only step left was for Rick to have fun. They stood back and they watched, feeling nervous and tense. As Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense, he moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold, and then, for the first time, Ricky the Rock rolled. He did it, right? He did it with the help of his friends, right? So Bria the ladybug, who'd been there from the start, felt a surge of pure joy swell up in her heart. She thought as she watched her friends play on the hill that there's always a way if there's always a will. And she said to herself, Ricky, roll down the slope, and when you're surrounded by love, you always have hope. And that is the end. So this is a book that some kids in our school recommended. So I want to say thank you to the kindergartners in Mrs. Douglas's class for recommending this book. Wasn't this a great book? So I told you in the beginning that this had something to do with something called growth mindset. And growth mindset means a lot of different things. But growth mindset, a big part of growth mindset is that you're always thinking of a way that you can be better, right? You're always thinking of a way. And maybe you're already good at something and you still want to get even better. That's kind of like what Ricky did, isn't it? He didn't give up. In the beginning, it felt like he was going to, but he didn't. And his friends helped him to keep going. Okay? That's something called growth mindset. And maybe you need to think like having growth mindset about something in school or something else in your life. What can that be? It could be something that you don't feel like you're very good at yet, or maybe it's something you're already kind of good at, but you want to keep growing. And that's like the best thing, because then it's only going to get better and better. Okay? Ricky, the rock that couldn't roll, read it. Thanks, Mrs. Douglas and her class. I'll see you next time.